You are looking live inside the Sanford Jackrabbit Athletic Complex, the S-Jack in Brookings, South Dakota, where soon we will have a championship celebration at the top of the hour to celebrate the 2022 FCS National Champions, the South Dakota State Jackrabbits. And good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining the Jackrabbit Journal Championship celebration. I am David Brown here in our Sioux Falls studios. It has been quite the whirlwind over the past 72 hours for fans, players, coaches, and alumni of South Dakota State football. The Jacks captured their first FCS National Championship on Sunday, defeating their arch rivals, the North Dakota State Bison, 45-21 down in Frisco, Texas. And this was the scene on Monday. South Dakota State returning home to the Sioux Falls Airport. National Championship trophy well in tow, along with some pizza. That's a good in-flight meal. Heroes welcome back in South Dakota as the victorious players and coaches brought a little bit of that Texas flair back with them, made their way to the buses. That's when they made their way about an hour north up Interstate 29 and back on campus in Brookings. And Brookings will be the site of this championship celebration held inside SDSU's practice facility, nicknamed the S-Jack. And that is where we find the voice of the Jackrabbits, Tom Neiman. Tom is standing by with SDSU Athletic Director Justin Sell. Tom?
All right, Brownie. Yeah, appreciate it. Here at the S-Jack, the program will get going at the top of the hour, and Justin Sell joins us here. He's going to be speaking in a little bit, but I'm tired but still wired like everybody else, I think. How you doing?
Am I standing on the ground? I don't think my feet have hit the ground in the last 48 hours, and feeling great. What a magical weekend.
I want to take you back about 10 years from now to 2013 and just kind of the progression of the facilities and the football program. And you go back to April. This was the spring practice they had at the Larson Ice Center on the concrete. And that is where things kind of got started. You see, this is Austin Sumner and Zach Zenner, and that was in 2013. And then we get ahead to 2015 and the rebuild of Coughlin Alumni Stadium. Dana J. Dicehouse Stadium opened in 2016. We're going to see the sellout from the USD game this season as the fan participation was up 20% over last year. And just the progression, Justin, I had to throw that one in there. That was the last game Hank and I did in the old press box with the fly strip hanging back there. But I kept taking pictures after games because everything was so beautiful. But the whole point is the progression of the fans and the corporate buy-in, and everything else has gone lockstep with what the football program has done.
Without a doubt, and I think it goes back, honestly, to Peggy Miller, Fred Oyen, and Dana Dykhouse believing. And I think moving us from Division II to Division I gave us a chance to play for this kind of championship. And then your pictures and your videos show all the hard work, and we've just stuck with it. We believed in ourselves. We believed in our culture, our values, who we are. We took some tough losses, yet we came back and found a way to get a little bit better and a little bit better. It never came easy. Our former student athletes were huge pieces and reasons for our success. Their willingness to fight through Division I, that transition when you didn't even get a chance to play for something, to supporting us today. And that's where the emotions of Sunday were so strong, because we all know if you're a Jackrabbit, you don't even have to explain it. We've lived through it, and to walk through that door just validated all the great work by a lot of people over many years.
We appreciate your time. We appreciate, we'll see what you got to say coming up here. Justin Sell, the athletics director here at South Dakota State University. And as he said, the turnout in Frisco, Texas, Jackrabbit Nation showed up, and you ran into former players and people that have been fans for 50 years of Jackrabbit football, all paid off with the championship on Sunday in the win over North Dakota State for the FCS championship. All right, David, more to come here at the top of the hour in the program here at the S-Jack. Back to you, sir.
All right, thank you very much, Tom, and thanks to Justin Sell for his time. As Tom said, the ceremony should be around half an hour, starting at the top of the hour, 5 o'clock, and you'll be able to watch it right here live on Midco Sports. So how did SDSU get it done and finally break through to win its first national title? We're going to break down some of the numbers and head back to Brookings for the championship celebration when we return on Midco Sports.
Jackrabbit Journal Championship Celebration live on Midco Sports is presented by Agtegra. Strong, stable, dependable, local. South Dakota State University. Be great, start here. CU Mortgage Direct, where local servicing is available. South Dakota Corn. Become a member at sdcorn.org. And by Wegner Auto Company, the oldest auto dealer in South Dakota since 1907. Visit WegnerAuto.com today.
The most gratifying thing about what I do day in and day out is I get to watch things grow.
When you look at corn and the huge role it plays in feed for our cattle and our livestock, our pigs, is so huge. Also our ethanol plants.
So I sit on South Dakota Corn Growers Association. We're focused on policy, so we work with state representatives here locally in the state legislature, as well as our state senators and our representative in Washington.
Every farm is unique, but all farmers have something in common: the desire to maximize their land and improve it for the next generation. You need a cooperative that offers peace of mind. AgTegra Cooperative is an ag partner that shares your values and is part of your community. From agronomy and grain operations to energy and feed, AgTegra will link your farm to the future. AgTegra Cooperative. Strong, stable, dependable.
To do something you've never done, you have to become someone you've never been. You have to find that place within yourself that you might not find by yourself. Many who do so start here, at the intersection of 44 degrees north and 96 degrees west. This is where transformations begin, and where the ripples of these transformations spread far and wide. Those who have found this place have found something profoundly greater.
The communication was unbelievable. Every step of the way, I felt like somebody was there for us to answer any questions that we had.
CU Mortgage Direct is here to assist you with your home buying experience.
We've done a few different mortgages in our lives, and it's honestly been the easiest process. The relationship side has been great. I can't think of another situation where we've had it in a way that felt so comfortable.
CU Mortgage Direct. Simple solutions, direct results.
Tired of seeing empty dealer lots and looking for months and not finding the Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram you want? Well, Wegner Auto in Pierre, South Dakota has the answer for you. And get the vehicle of your dreams faster. Order your Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram and receive up to $5,000 off MSRP on select models. Come in or call us now. These offers may not last. Wegner Auto Company in Pierre, South Dakota, celebrating since 1907.
Sanford Jackrabbit Athletic Complex getting ready to hold a welcome home celebration for South Dakota State football after the Jacks earn their first national title. Welcome back to the SDSU Championship Celebration Show. David Brown here. Well, the Jackrabbits have been chasing this goal for years and years. They kept getting closer and closer, but falling just short. There were those multiple trips to the FCS semifinals, that championship loss in the spring 2021 season to Sam Houston, and 4 defeats over the past 10 years in the playoffs to North Dakota State alone. But finally, on Sunday, SDSU reached the mountaintop with a victory over their arch rivals from NDSU. Here are some of the sound and the emotions in the immediate aftermath of the win down in Frisco, Texas.
There's no better feeling. I mean, I got to give it to all the guys that worked so hard for this moment. Coming back here after 2 years, losing the last time. This is what these guys wanted, and I'm glad we got to seize the day.
We love each other so much, and that's been the difference. Every other team, we've always had good players here. We've always, had good coaches, everything like that while I've been here. But just the love and care that we have for each other will push us through anything, any bad moment.
There was more blue than yellow, and that's what I was happy to see. I'm so proud of us, and I'm so proud of all these fans that came out today.
We put 45 up on NDSU, and that says something about our program moving forward.
Yeah, man, just a surreal moment, man. It just, all these fans, all these Jackrabbit Nation, man, it's just fun, man. Just lost of words right now.
A lot of people were waiting for us to drop that one let-up game, and we never did it, so proud of our guys.
They deserved it, and, and they traveled well. The whole field was blue at the end of the game, and that was awesome.
Fortunately, my career as a Jackrabbit is over, but I went out on top.
And just a really cool scene down in Frisco a few days ago. Final score 45-21 South Dakota State. Here's a bigger breakdown of just how SDSU won this game. And of course, it started on the ground. 283 rushing yards for SDSU to just 160 for NDSU. Isaiah Davis and Mar Johnson each had more than 100 yards and a touchdown on the ground for the Jackrabbits. South Dakota State also averaged more than 7 yards per carry compared to just 4 for North Dakota State. We mentioned during our pregame show Sunday how SDSU had been excellent on third down and in the red zone. That was displayed in full force Sunday. Jacks 9 of 14 on third down compared to just 5 of 12 for the Bison, and SDSU scored on all 3 of its red zone possessions. And the biggest key, turnovers. Both the Jacks and Bison tied for the lead in the Missouri Valley in turnover margin, coming in at plus 13. Sunday, SDSU plus 3 in that category, 2 interceptions and a fumble recovery. NDSU did not create a turnover. Quarterback Mark Gronowski named most outstanding player of the game, 14 of 21, 223 yards, 3 touchdowns through the air, 57 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown on the ground. Well, we are just moments away from the start of the celebration in Brookings. Let us check back in with Tom Neiman, who will fill us in on what to expect in just a little bit. Tom?
All right, Brownie, yeah, just trying to keep that buzz going here. And there's a little buzz in the S-Jack as the fans are coming in here. Everybody from 5 to 95. Dick Bartling is a long time. He's in his 90s, long-time South Dakota State football fan who's literally waited a lifetime to see South Dakota State win this championship. So he's here. And coming up, it'll be Justin Sell, the athletic director. He will speak. Barry Dunn, the president of South Dakota State University, will speak as well. And then John Stiglmeyer, the Jackrabbit head coach who wins a national championship in his 26th season as the head coach of the Jackrabbits. So that's what's coming up at the top of the hour. We will hang around. We'll talk to some of the players after that program is over. We've got Zach Hines and Garrett Greenfield from the offense, Jason Freeman, Colby Herder from the Jackrabbit defense. We'll talk with those guys once the program is over here. David?
All right, thank you very much, Tom. We look forward to seeing it up at the S-Jack. When we come back, the festivities will hopefully be underway in Brookings. Stay with us. It's the Jackrabbit Journal Championship celebration live right here on Midco Sports.
Every farm is unique, but all farmers have something in common: the desire to maximize their land and improve it for the next generation. You need a cooperative that offers peace of mind. AgTegra Cooperative is an ag partner that shares your values and is part of your community. From agronomy and grain operations to energy and feed, AgTegra will link your farm to the future. AgTegra Cooperative. Strong, stable, dependable.
To do something you've never done, you have to become someone you've never been. You have to find that place within yourself that you might not find by yourself. Many who do so start here, at the intersection of 44 degrees north and 96 degrees west. This is where transformations begin, and where the ripples of these transformations spread far and wide. Those who have found this place have found something profoundly greater.
The communication was unbelievable. Every step of the way, I felt like somebody was there for us to answer any questions that we had.
CU Mortgage Direct is here to assist you with your home buying experience.
We've done a few different mortgages in our lives, and it's honestly been the easiest process. The relationship side has been great. I can't think of another situation where we've had it in a way that felt so comfortable.
CU Mortgage Direct. Simple solutions, direct results.
Tired of seeing empty dealer lots and looking for months and not finding the Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram you want? Well, Wegner Auto in Pierre, South Dakota has the answer for you. And get the vehicle of your dreams faster. Order your Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram and receive up to $5,000 off MSRP on select models. Come in or call us now. These offers may not last. Wegner Auto Company in Pierre, South Dakota, celebrating since 1907.
The most gratifying thing about what I do day in and day out is I get to watch things grow.
When you look at corn and the huge role it plays in feed for our cattle and our livestock, our pigs, is so huge. Also our ethanol plants.
So I sit on South Dakota Corn Growers Association. We're focused on policy, so we work with state representatives here locally in the state legislature, as well as our state senators and our representative in Washington.
Jackrabbit Journal Championship Celebration live on Midco Sports is presented by AgTegra. Strong, stable, dependable, local. South Dakota State University. Be great, start here. CU Mortgage Direct, where local servicing is available. South Dakota Corn. Become a member at sdcorn.org. And by Wegner Auto Company, the oldest auto dealer in South Dakota since 1907. Visit WegnerAuto.com today.
And welcome back to the Jackrabbit Journal Championship celebration. I'm David Brown here in our Sioux Falls studios. The festivities in Brookings are just underway, so let's go live to the Sanford Jackrabbit Athletic Complex and listen in.
So there isn't anything on site for logistical purposes, but the bookstore will have things with national championship logos on it till 7 o'clock tonight, or jackrabbitcentral.com. You can log on and purchase your national championship gear this evening. And we'll get our presentation started here in just a moment.
False start on that one. It was just Tyler Merriam, the voice of the Jackrabbits, telling people where to get their championship gear. We'll get things going in just a little bit, but of course this is a celebration of the 2022 FCS National Champions, South Dakota State football. Got the cheerleaders and everyone coming in, a little pomp and circumstance before we officially get things going underway. Players about to make the entrance from the weight room. Looks like Coach Stagg there. It's Coach Stagg. He's got the championship trophy in tow. Everyone in matching gray sweatsuits got to coordinate for an event like this, and here come the Jacks. Stagg earning his 199th career victory with the championship win on Sunday afternoon. 26 seasons as the head coach of South Dakota State, was previously a defensive coordinator for SDSU. He bleeds blue and yellow more than anyone, and for him to bring home that championship trophy at age 65, certainly an endearing moment for him, his family, and for South Dakota State as a whole. And a great team that finally got over that hump over North Dakota State as they marched their way in. Tom mentioned it a little bit ago. You think about all the past Jacks that came close and those great teams of the past decade plus. Guys like Zach Zenner, Austin Sumner, Taryn Christian, Dallas Goddard, who's making waves in the NFL with the Philadelphia Eagles, all those great Jackrabbits. And you saw what they like to call Jackrabbit Nation firmly in their corner, both in Brookings and in Frisco, Texas. There is Stagg with Tyler Merriam, the radio voice of the Jackrabbits, and looks like our program will get underway here in just a little bit. More Jackrabbits file again. There's a lot of people on this team, more than 100 members of the South Dakota State 2022 National Champions. And as they make their way in, you get another look at Athletic Director Justin Sell. We mentioned for Coach Stagg, it's victory number 199. Go look at the resume. Holy nutmeg, he likes to say that phrase instead of cursing. 26 seasons as the head of SDSU. See, one win shy of 200 career victories. 12 FCS postseason appearances. He won the FCS Coach of the Year, the Eddie Robinson Award this past weekend. Also today, or excuse me, on Monday, was named the AFCA Coach of the Year as well. And of course, the winner of the 2022 FCS National Championship at the age of 65 and after 26 seasons at the helm of South Dakota State. Looks like we'll get things underway. Let's go back to Tyler Merriam.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the campus of South Dakota State University. My name is Tyler Merriam, and it is an honor to be a part of tonight's celebration as we take in the greatest football team ever assembled at SDSU. Tonight, we celebrate the 2022 South Dakota State football team. This is a group of young men who won a school record 14 games, all in a row, which is the longest winning streak in program history. They won the Dakota Marker, the Missouri Valley Football Conference Championship, and earned the #1 overall seed in the playoffs for the second time in the last 3 seasons. They then steamrolled through the playoffs, winning all 4 games by at least 21 points. They did it with a stifling defense that not only allowed the fewest rushing yards in the country, but also had the most interceptions of any team in the FCS. They also tell me the offense wasn't too bad either. And the special teams was pretty good too. 4 All-Americans, 15 All-Conference honorees, and they are the only team in the nation that did not lose to an FCS foe this year. And finally, on Sunday, January the 8th, 2023, they defeated North Dakota State 45-21 to win the 12th Athletic National Championship in the history of South Dakota State University. Now, our first speaker arrived on campus in the spring of 2009. He was hired as our 12th Director of Athletics, and he had a challenging task. I think we all can agree that South Dakotans as a whole, myself included, we tend not to give ourselves enough credit. Maybe we don't think big enough. This individual helped change that. He not only dreamed big, but encouraged all of us to do so as well. A driving force behind the facility improvements, such as the building we are in right now, the Sanford Jackrabbit Athletic Complex, along with Dana J. Dykhouse Stadium, and the construction of First Bank and Trust Arena and the Frank J. Kurtenbach Family Wrestling Center. But more importantly, he taught us to say, why not? And to realize that anything is possible, even a national championship. Ladies and gentlemen, South Dakota State Director of Athletics, Justin Sell.
I usually don't have problems with words, but I'm having a problem with a mic. It's been an interesting, certainly, last week, last 48 hours, as you think about trying to put into words what many of us have felt, the emotions that we've had. Some people jumped on this Jackrabbit fan trip this season. Some have been with us for 10 or 15 or 20 years. Some of us have been with us for a lifetime. And how you capture a moment like this is really difficult to do. But I rest easy knowing all of you know exactly how I feel, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I think the thing I would want to say, and I'll start out with this comment, this team, Tyler walked through all the successes that we've had, and they're incredible. I think adversity, the injuries we dealt with, certainly new coaches and new positions, some new guys having to come in and take on different roles, and then to run through the season with the confidence, and it didn't always come easy. There were a few games we were down a couple touchdowns early, didn't matter. There were games we got ahead by a couple touchdowns, we put the foot on the gas, didn't matter. And I think when I know these guys and you look under the helmets and you take the numbers off the jerseys, what they do in the classroom, the challenging majors they're in, the grades that they get, what they do in this community, and truly how they represent our university. And in this case, we got to do that on the national stage. I am forever grateful for what they've done. The national championship just puts in the spotlight everything that's right about college athletics and everything that's right about being a Jackrabbit. Thank you, guys. Can I do this? Tyler? All right, everyone can hear me okay? Belief, trust, love, willing to take some chances and willing to be bold. This championship is entirely about those concepts. 20 years ago, this university decided to walk through the door into a different era and to say we want to compete at the highest level. And it took all of us trying to figure out over those 20 years, building that trust, following along with that belief, to be able to love each other through the tough times. The hugs were so great this weekend because we've all lived in the other locker room. We've all lived with tough losses. We've all lived with adversity. And they were just that much tighter when we were able to walk through the door and win the championship. It wouldn't have been done without some key people along the way. I do want to recognize some very important individuals. I know President Peggy Miller is here. Peggy Miller, thank you so much for your vision. For your willingness to take a chance to know what this university could do. how athletics plays just a role in helping accomplish that. Thank you so much. Dr. Fred Oyen, the athletic director at the time, took on all the tough comments and doubters and pushed his way through to put us in this spot. And I would be remiss not to thank Dana Dykhouse. Obviously, he's helped support building a lot of buildings. He's helped support moving our program forward. But his passion and love for this institution is second to none. And without Dana, I don't think we're standing here today. So can we give those three a round of applause? And then over time, to continue to do what we've done and do the work, and it didn't come easy. We've had tremendous leadership at this institution that has helped us cross some of those bridges, put some things in place that allow us to be successful, to create an amazing student-athlete experience, and to support these kids at the highest level. And I want to thank President David Shequin. I know he's here today. David, thank you. Marcia, his wife, thank you. And President Dunn and his wife, Jane, have done so many great things for this institution to help us get here. Thank you, Barry, and thank you, Jane. And then I think the other part of leadership that's so important is when you're creating culture over time, there are challenges. And we've had tremendous coaches, assistant coaches, strength and conditioning, our athletic training staff. This year, probably the MVP. I think our guys would agree. And it takes all of those people, academic advisors, support from our faculty on our campus. But for me, being here 14 years, special thanks I want to thank two people in particular. The first one, and I'll end with Coach Stig, but the first one, Jimmy Rogers was a senior when I walked in here as a freshman, my first year, 2009. And to go through the last 14 years through the eyes of a former student athlete, someone who worked through the transition process, put the first playoff marker on the board for us in 2009, and then to literally live and die every moment over the last 14 years to get to this point. I can't thank Jimmy enough. Jimmy, thanks for doing all that you've done for South Dakota State. And then before I close, Coach Stig, come here for just a second. I'm going to... I love you, buddy. This guy took a 40-year-old first-time athletic director who was trying to figure some things out, trying to figure out what culture meant, what passion meant, how to build things with true integrity, with the long game in mind, not doing it easy, but doing it with compassion, doing it with love. And over time, I think you can see the results that have come. But he gave me a chance to grow, not only as an administrator and trying to help support our student athletes in their experience, but he helped me grow as a person and as a man. I'll be truly thankful forever for all the work that you've done, what you meant to me personally. I think my story could be told hundreds and thousands of times with former student athletes and with former coaches and our fans and supporters. And so obviously you were recognized as Coach of the Year. You've been being able to win a national championship and all those things, but it's because of who you are as a person that we are all so excited that we got this championship and that you're the leader of it. And the last thing I'd like to say, just like today, so many of you have put in everything into being a Jackrabbit and what that means. You've invested this fall with record attendance. Some of you might have bought a few beers at our games this fall. That helps, thank you. Many people, I heard so many stories of people driving from all over the country, people that have maybe just been to one game, people that have been to every game for 40 years. Our former coach, Jay Bubak, came from Kazakhstan, 32-hour flight to get back for the game. There are stories all over the place that this national championship run pulled us all together. And I would leave you with the fact that we're winning and we're doing great things and we're showcasing how great this institution is because we do it together. In a world that chases things, it's about individuals, it's about conflict, there is peace and love in this room because of all of you. And I hope each and every one of you and all of our former student athletes that are the ones that helped us get to this point take a piece of this national championship trophy. Because if you do, and we come back together, there's going to be a bunch more. Thank you.
Build a 19,000-seat stadium and can't put a mic stand together, for crying out loud. What did you do to this thing? All right, at this time, I'd like to recognize a couple of groups that make game days so special, not only for Jackrabbit football, but for all of our sports. First off, they were unable to be here, but the Pride of the Dakotas Marching Band, a group that comprises 340. Over 340 of them, and for the record, SDSU did not just beat NDSU in football on Sunday. The band domination was in full force as well. And our spirit squads, the cheer and dance teams, are both in Frisco as well. They are behind us. Let's give them a round of applause as well. Many university presidents are supportive of athletics, but I challenge you to find one who is a bigger fan than Dr. Barry Dunn. And he is not just a fan from a global perspective. I share this story as one that I did not get to personally witness, but two members of our Jackrabbit Sports Network broadcast team did, so I'm going to share it here. Barry was talking with a few folks in the airport on Friday before our flight left, and he commented to Alex Parker, who is a member of our broadcast and a former player as well, about how a couple of the student athletes on this football team were recruited by a coach who is no longer on staff. He's moved on to a different institution. And he said, you should call him and you should invite him to the game on Sunday. And then Barry walked away. Now, Alex made a tremendous error. He assumed Barry was kidding and he wouldn't have to worry about this. 5 minutes later, Barry reappeared and said, have you called him yet? Alex said no. He goes, call him right now. So Alex called him and said, I'm standing here with President Dunn. He really wants you to come to the game on Sunday. And then Barry took the phone from Alex, got on the phone and said, you are a huge part of this. You have to be here. I have tickets for you. You might have to sit next to Senator Thune, but I have tickets for you. You need to come. I share that story because it illustrates how important relationships and people are to him. And if you've ever met him, you know that to be true. Please welcome the president of South Dakota State, Dr. Barry Dunn.
Hi, everyone. Every day is a great day to be a Jackrabbit. But January 8th, 2023 was the one for the record books. Don't you think that was a fantastic day? So on behalf of 11,400 students, 2,000 employees, 88,000 living alumni, friends from across the nation, 800,000+ South Dakotans, help me congratulate these young men and their coaches. They've been the #1 FCS football team all year, and now they will be forever the #1 football team in 2022. Success has many, many parents, and Justin just kind of you know, certainly did a good job, but really just the tip of the iceberg. There's so many people to thank that I'm not going to do that, because you know who you are, you know what you mean to this university, and as Justin said, we love you and care about you and are very grateful. So from coaches and staff and everybody on that campus, from people working in admissions, on and on and on, everybody cares about this team and this great accomplishment these young men showed themselves about on Sunday. So these young men committed themselves to be the best, just as we talked about in our strategic plan to be a premier university. You've got to be the best. These young men were the best through countless repetitions on countless practices in countless days throughout this season, played 15 games, and they came out the very best football team in FCS football. It's just an enormous accomplishment. So I'm very proud of them, and as I know you are, and there's only one other thing. There was a cherry on top, and Justin alluded to this, and as he gave Stig a big hug. But think about this. The very best football coach in 2022, who won the Eddie Robinson Award for the best coach in FCS football, was our own coach, John Stiegelmeier. That is a premier job of coaching. Again, thank you all very, very much. Just let's never let these young men forget how much we care about them, how much we appreciate what they've accomplished. And to you guys, it's just an honor to be here with you today. Congratulations.
Thank you, President Dunn. You know, at this moment, I want to give a shout out to you, the fans, Jackrabbit Nation. We asked you to come out here, whether you're watching, whether you're listening, whether you're here in person. We need to thank you, because the pep rally on Saturday down in Frisco was nothing short of amazing. And many of you were also there on Sunday. It was a sea of yellow and blue. And the telecast, with all the Jackrabbit fans on the side the camera could see, was simply beautiful. Justin said it earlier, it was a 4-hour infomercial for South Dakota State athletics. And the noise that Jackrabbit Nation generated on Sunday was phenomenal. But beyond that, we've talked about some records the football team set. You set a record yourself. 113,227 fans turned out at Dana J. Dykhouse Stadium this year to watch Jackrabbit football. It is the first time in the history of Jackrabbit football we have drawn 100,000 fans, and we obliterated that mark. So on behalf of these guys, give them a round of applause. Thank you, Jackrabbit Nation. Our last speaker tonight is a man whose reach is seemingly endless. Almost 300 of his former players came to the final practice of the season on Saturday to support him. Former coaches and their wives flocked to Frisco on Sunday. They came from other parts of Texas, the Dakotas, Minnesota, and as Justin noted, even Kazakhstan. And yes, they came to support the Jackrabbits, but they came because of the indelible mark left on their lives by the man standing behind me. This fall, he's also gone hunchback, carrying around all the awards he has won. Namely, the Eddie Robinson FCS Coach of the Year, the AFCA National Coach of the Year, and of course, the National Championship. 199 wins and counting, the head coach of the Jackrabbit football program. Please welcome John Stiegelmeier.
Hey, we want to get out of here tonight, okay? Normally, when I have a meeting with these guys, I make them take their hats off. But these are special hats they're wearing today, so we'll leave them on. And we have a tradition to start every meeting with birthdays. So, Jared, is your birthday today? Give him a hand. Let's go. It doesn't take much to get a big guy to run and get a candy bar, right? Yeah. Look at how many people showed up, all right? Savian, did you have a birthday party and celebrated with about 18,000 people on Sunday? That was fun? Give him a hand, Savian Williamson. Okay, that is tradition. Thanks for showing up. This is very honoring to our players, to our coaches, to our administration, to our support staff. You did it all year. Tyler talked about the record attendance. While I got you here, I want to emphasize how important that is. To walk out into the stadium and see a sea of blue and yellow in our own stadium, and then those of you that were able to get to Frisco, those of you that watched the telecast and were there in spirit, you make a difference. You really do. And I want you to keep challenging yourself to do that, be there, and then bring a friend, because it's pretty cool to walk out into that stadium and see that and feel that. That was a championship crowd in Frisco. I would be in error if I didn't thank our administration, our present administration, President Dunn, Justin Sell, Dennis Hedge, I believe, is over here. The presidents that went before them, President Sheequin and Marcia, and then I probably shouldn't say that, but one of my favorites, Peggy Miller. Give those guys a hand. And I think I can quote you. I love it when you say, I'm your coach, your football coach. I like that. So I need to thank our administration, our assistant coaches and the support staff. I was blessed to get a couple of Coach of the Year awards, and I'm going to go on record again in a sport like football. That's a goofy award, right? Sure, I'm blessed to hold the title of head coach, but there are so many people that contribute to the success of a football program, helping these guys out, and then obviously the product they put on the field. And so this is, the team of the year and the assistant coaches of the year. And Jimmy did win that award, which is really cool. All right, and then when we interviewed here in 1997 for the head football job, in those days they had a social, and I don't know if my wife is here. I believe she is, but she stepped up towards the end of it and said, if you really want to know who the head coach is, ask me the questions, meaning her. And so wherever Lori is, please give her a hand, please. In the football program, when we have fall camp, we talk about the football family, and it talks about the number of living football alums there are, and those are the past members of the football family, and then we talk about the present. And I talk to these guys about who are the first individuals that go to the paper, go to the email or the internet to find out what the score was if they don't know, and it's the past football family. And I wanted, if some of those are here and if some of those watch this broadcast, and in every text and every email I've been able to complete, and I'm not even close to finishing that, I put in there when I'm talking about our experience, that I want those guys in the past to know they're part of this. And I had a visit with Mason today. I think Mason's an assistant coach. He's in our offices more than I am, but I love that about him. And he talked about, kind of the baton being passed in his time here, and that's a great statement for a guy that just won a national part of winning a national championship, giving credit to those that went before. And so those guys are important to me, and obviously when you've been here as long as I have, there's some really special feelings for that group that went before these guys. The number of statements I've heard in the texts and the emails and the tweets about grown men crying, that's pretty cool. That touches my heart. And so hopefully many of you had some special emotions that mark you during this time, that we're human beings. We should allow that to happen. But when this big, tough football guy that was out on the field, and I see him on the field and he's weeping like a baby and gives me a hug, that touches my heart. And that's where our feelings start. I'm going to go back to 2004 when President Miller and Dr. Fred Oyen made this decision. And that's not that long ago, all right? And we'd been a Division II program. We'd been to the playoffs one time in 1979. And we met North Dakota State on the border, a mile in from the casino, at a little farm there, and looked at a real border marker trophy, or excuse me, border marker. And that friendship existed for about 15 seconds because we needed each other. And then the greatest rivalry in FCS football started. And they needed us and we needed them, and that experience marked me. I saw Craig Bowl at the convention yesterday, and he talked about that event in his life also. He was the head coach at North Dakota State. And many, like I said, have gone before. Many went before that. But these guys are partially the recipient of those guys that met North Dakota State on the border and dedicated themselves to changing the face and the reputation of SDSU football. And it's been a great change. So I've been quoted many times about winning the national championship, and I've said it the same way every time. I said, when we're on that podium, it should last 10 seconds. The feeling should last 10 seconds. I didn't know what it was going to feel like. It lasted more than 10 seconds, all right? But what I wanted to say, and really wanted to say to these guys, is I don't want that to be the ultimate in your life, all right? When you come back, I don't want you to just talk about January 8th. I want you to talk about being a national champion as a dad, as a husband, whatever that means to you. I want you to be a national champion as an employer or an employee. I want you to be a national champion as a citizen in our great United States. And you know what it feels like to be a national champion as a student athlete. Be the same. And that's what I was saying, right? And these guys are a picture of that. They have been before, and they are again this year. So, thank you. And I've told everybody that's asked me, what's my greatest victory? It's not on the field, all right? It's when one of these guys comes back, or those before them, they come back, they walk down that hallway, I see them coming, I'm able to jump out of my chair, they're with a wife, 2 children, they sit down in my office, and they talk about the impact South Dakota State football had in their life, all right? And that is a great victory for me. In closing, again, I'm tremendously proud of this group. That's the wrong words. There's better words for that, but I'm beyond tremendously proud of this group. They are champions in the classroom, and they are champions in our community through their service and they're investing in little people whenever they get a chance, and they are champions in the field. In fact, give these guys a hand. They are the national champions. Thank you.
With that, our program is just about over. A couple of quick reminders. We will have the championship trophy with the backdrop over there in the northwest corner for pictures. Remember, the bookstore is open until 7 p.m. tonight with championship gear, or you can go on to jackrabbitcentral.com. Folks, this has been a special night. It's been a special year. I think you all know what I'm getting at. There is only one way we can possibly end this reunion of so many friends and family members. Give it to me as good as you can, all right? Go big, go blue, go Jacks. Thanks for coming, everybody.
All right, a fun evening up in Brookings at the S-Jack. We heard from President Barry Dunn, Athletic Director Justin Sell, and the head coach of the 2022 FCS National Champions, John Stiegelmeier. We will go back to Brookings when we come back here on Midco Sports. Tom Neiman has some interviews, hopefully, with a couple of players. You're watching the Jackrabbit Journal Championship celebration right here on Midco Sports.
To do something you've never done, you have to become someone you've never been. You have to find that place within yourself that you might not find by yourself. Many who do so start here, at the intersection of 44 degrees north and 96 degrees west. This is where transformations begin, and where the ripples of these transformations spread far and wide. Those who have found this place have found something profoundly greater.
The communication was unbelievable. Every step of the way, I felt like somebody was there for us to answer any questions that we had.
CU Mortgage Direct is here to assist you with your home buying experience.
We've done a few different mortgages in our lives, and it's honestly been the easiest process. The relationship side has been great. I can't think of another situation where we've had it in a way that felt so comfortable.
CU Mortgage Direct. Simple solutions, direct results.
Tired of seeing empty dealer lots and looking for months and not finding the Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram you want? Well, Wegner Auto in Pierre, South Dakota has the answer for you. And get the vehicle of your dreams faster. Order your Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram and receive up to $5,000 off MSRP on select models. Come in or call us now. These offers may not last. Wegner Auto Company in Pierre, South Dakota, celebrating since 1907.
The most gratifying thing about what I do day in and day out is I get to watch things grow.
When you look at corn and the huge role it plays in feed for our cattle and our livestock, our pigs, is so huge. Also our ethanol plants.
So I sit on South Dakota Corn Growers Association. We're focused on policy. So we work with state representatives here locally in the state legislature, as well as our state senators and our representative in Washington.
Every farm is unique, but all farmers have something in common: the desire to maximize their land and improve it for the next generation. You need a cooperative that offers peace of mind. Agtegra Cooperative is an ag partner that shares your values and is part of your community. From agronomy and grain operations to energy and feed, Agtegra will link your farm to the future. Agtegra Cooperative. Strong, stable, dependable.
Welcome back to the Jackrabbit Journal Championship celebration here on Midco Sports. David Brown here in our Sioux Falls studios. Tom Neiman will be standing by with some players here momentarily, just wrangling them up as we speak. Still a lot of fun happening inside the Sanford Jackrabbit Athletic Complex where the championship celebration just concluded. You heard a lot from President Dunn, Athletic Director Sell, and Coach Stig. And probably one of the coolest things as you get a look inside at Coach Stig, just greeting some fans and friends and family. Just the cool thing that Stig mentioned being how, you know, as fierce a rivalry as it is, you know, people forget 2004 SDSU and NDSU made the jump together, and they needed to make the jump together. Neither one of them could go on their own. They had to do it together, and that is, of course, when they met, as he said, right by the casino near the border, and the Dakota Marker Trophy was officially born in that series. And again, SDSU has won the Dakota Marker, the regular season trophy, now 3 years in a row. And so when the Bison and Jacks play next year in Brookings, the Dakota Marker will be standing right next to the National Championship Trophy from this year for the first time ever. And then you also saw what Athletic Director Sell alluded to with Tom a little bit ago in the videos, and just thinking back to when Justin Sell was hired back in 2009. You know, Coughlin Alumni Stadium was a good stadium, but, you know, it was showing its age. It was showing its wear and tear. And all the upgraded athletic facilities from around the area, and you saw the progression of that. Coughlin Alumni to Dana J. Dykehouse Stadium, the building of the SJAC where they just held their ceremony there. You saw the pictures. They used to practice in the Swiftel Center on concrete during spring football, and to think that was just a decade ago is really hard to imagine, but SDSU has certainly come a long way when it comes to athletic programs and athletic facilities at South Dakota State. We will go back now to the SJAC. Tom Neiman standing by with Garrett Greenfield. Tom.
All right, thanks, David. Garrett, could you play again Saturday, or are you wiped out?
You know, I'm still pretty juiced, so I probably could play again Saturday, but, you know, it's just nice. It's the last game of the year, and we won it, so we don't have to worry about that. But just an incredible feeling, and just feels so unreal right now.
There were some great pictures of you after the game. You were all jacked up, had the Warrior makeup on. That was an unbelievable feeling, I got to believe, huh?
Yeah, it was, you know, everything we dreamed of and more. Just, you know, all the work that's gone into this for the last 5 years. It was just absolutely unreal to see it all come together. You know, standing up on the podium, looking out at all the blue across the field. It was one of the coolest moments of my life, and one that I'll never forget. And I just remember way back when I committed here, that's what we were committing to with Coach Stig, and we told him we were going to get him that championship, and I'm so happy we got to do it for him. It was absolutely unbelievable.
You had a great view of the long touchdown runs by Amar and by Isaiah and by Mark. That had to be a fantastic feeling to do your job and then watch those guys get into the end zone.
Yeah, you know, it was just, you do your job, and then all of a sudden you hear the crowd erupt, and then you look up and you see one of those three running loose. There's really no better feeling, to be quite honest with you. And, you know, we got a lot of playmakers on the offensive side of the ball and all over the field, really. But you know, when you block up a play really well, and, you know, you hear the crowd roar, then you look up and see they're, you know, 30, 40, 50 yards down the field. It's pretty sweet.
All right, the Hogs really got it going once John and Evan kind of settled in, and you and Gus and Mason, and just about halfway through the season, you guys just locked it in, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm so proud of our O-line group as a whole. You know, we come a long way since that first game at Iowa. You know, I think there was a lot of jitters that first game. But, you know, we really came together. We worked our tails off every single day. Coach Olson holds us to a high standard. No, he gets after us in practice, and, you know, he makes us earn everything we get. And just the cohesion that we grew throughout the season, you know, we started to get more comfortable with each other, playing next to each other. And we just gelled so well throughout the year. And I'm just so happy to see that upward climb of how much we improved from Iowa to the game on Sunday. So it was just an unbelievable job by, you know, everybody in that room, and credit to Coach Olson, just everybody in there for working their tails off and getting it done.
All right, and you're not done yet, right?
No, I'll be back next year. So
appreciate it. Garrett Greenfield, congrats to the 605 Hogs. 42 points a game is what the Jackrabbits averaged in the 4 playoff games. And let's talk about the defense a little bit. Colby Herder, our man from Texas, is rolling in here. And are you still as juiced as anybody?
Yeah, it's been a long couple days so far. I'm kind of tired still. Just we're wearing down eventually.
Talk about, I keep hitting on your story, but you sent out tapes to FCS programs. South Dakota State, the only one that wanted you to come play for them, and it worked out so well, didn't it?
Yeah, it was something me and my dad and my mom, especially as a family, recruiting process. It's not the most fun thing to do, and we did everything we could and reached out to all kinds of things, or all kinds of teams, and Coach Rogers was the only one to answer. So I bless him for that, and I thank him so much for that.
How cool was it, your brother and your family and everybody there coming up from Katy, Texas, and winning it in front of them?
It was huge. A lot of family members that I haven't seen in a while got together for the first time in a long time, so it was a very special night for me.
Buc-ee's was everything you said it would be, by the way.
I told you guys. I told you. Buc-ee's is the best place to go.
We got gas, we got a brisket sandwich and everything else.
There you go, brisket sandwich. Yes, sir.
Hey, congratulations on a great season. All right, Colby Herder, one of the safeties on that Jackrabbit defense. And speaking of defense, Jason Freeman joins us here. And this is just a fact that SDSU never won a national championship until you got here. So.
Maybe I was that missing piece. I won't give all the credit to myself, but just a crazy experience getting to experience this for the first time with everybody else, and especially it being my first year here is just a crazy moment to soak in.
The defense, you and Adam just kind of settled in once he came back and played off of each other. Isaiah was great back there in that secondary. But you talked about this during the years. This is not an easy defense to learn. It took you a while, but once you guys got it going, especially against the run, you were fantastic.
Yeah. I guess our complicated defense is a good thing in a way that it's hard for offenses to maneuver around. So, I continue to give all the credit to Coach Rogers. Just for him coaching us those long hours in the film room and him getting after our behind out in practice. And, it's all came into fruition, everything we spoke about in the beginning of the season, just all the accomplishment and goals we wanted to achieve this season, and then having awesome teammates on defense to help us do that.
An interception in the national championship game got to be about as good as it gets.
Yeah, unreal experience. I just continue to give praise to God for everything that's happened to me. On the biggest stage in front of the best fans in the world. So, once I got on the sideline, I guess Bach was right next to me when I caught it. He was like, if you didn't catch it, I was going to catch it. And then somebody else was behind me. He was like, if you would have tipped it, I would have caught it. So, I mean, anybody could have caught the ball. But, just a crazy experience to get it in the national championship.
And it's been a long haul, hasn't it? Can you even think back to the Iowa game and the beginning of the season to this point?
Yeah, even though it is a new year, it literally feels like a year ago since we played Iowa. But, I just feel like that Iowa game really put our defense on the front line. It's like, we came here to play this season, and we continue to show that throughout the season.
It's been great having you here. Congratulations. Appreciate it. All right, Jason Freeman, part of that Jackrabbit defense. And again, they led the nation in FCS rushing defense this year, only 83 yards a game going into that game against North Dakota State. And Freeman is a transfer. He was one of the few transfers the Jacks brought in, came from Olivet Nazarene, an NAIA school, and he has made a huge impact in his first season with the Jackrabbit defense. And we're going to try to grab John Stiegelmeier here in a little bit. We're going to go grab Zach Hines as well, who is making his way over. David?
All right, thank you, Tom. We'll be back with Zach Hines there in just a moment. Of course, Zach Hines, if you saw on Twitter, played with a broken foot in the national championship game, so it's taken just a tinge longer to get over to Tom Neiman right now. And, of course, he's on crutches, absolute warrior in that game. There you see him. Zach Hines slowly but surely making his way over to Tom Neiman, and he is right next to Tom, so we will go right back to Mr. Neiman. Tom?
Hi, buddy. How are you?
Good. How are you?
You really did play that game with a broken foot, or what happened?
Yeah, broken foot, broken on Saturday, and just, one final game, played through.
Nobody would have known it. Exactly, and you were out there blocking, escorting some of those guys into the end zone. How fun was that to see Amar behind you, your blocks and all those things get into the end zone?
It was great because, when I got hurt, I went and got an x-ray and saw it was broken, and I didn't really know that I was going to get the opportunity to play the next day, and just to be able to play and make a difference in the game, it was a phenomenal feeling.
How cool was the touchdown for fellow tight end Mike Morgan? How was that play drawn up?
It was awesome. Mike's one of my roommates, one of my best friends on the team. And, our tight end room is so good that, love doesn't necessarily get shown all the way around all the time. So for him to get his moment in this stage and this big of an opportunity was just great to see.
You talked about love after that game, and that was kind of the missing ingredient maybe that really came to fruition. Everybody played together so cohesively this season, right?
Yeah, and I think I don't remember if I had said it earlier, but, it didn't matter if we were down or we were up. That we trusted the man next to us, and it was one of those things where, regardless of what the defense did, we trusted them to get a stop, and even if they didn't, they trusted us to, put another touchdown on the board, get another field goal on the board, get points before half, get points at the end of the game. Whatever we needed, we just knew that the person next to us was going to get their job done, so all we had to do was do our 111th, do our job out on the field, and we were going to be good at the end of the game.
How locked in this season was offensive coordinator Zach Lujan?
It was amazing for his first season as an offensive coordinator. I don't know the right words to say for how good of a job he did, but just incredibly thankful that he's our OC.
All right, are you done, or do you go out with the natty here?
There will be an announcement in the next couple of weeks.
All right. Attaboy. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Zach Hines, one of the fantastic tight ends for the Jackrabbits, along with Tucker Kraft, Mike Morgan, who had that touchdown catch in the national championship game, Kevin Brenner, who was a backup tight end that they converted from defensive end, and that group was really good, David. And we're going to wrap it up here with John Stiegelmeier here in just a minute.
All right, thank you again, Tom. And Coach Stig will be wrangled up shortly, but you saw Zach Hines obviously playing through the broken foot. He said one last time, wouldn't really hedge on whether he's coming back or whether he's going to enter the NFL draft. We already know that Tucker Kraft is. He made the declaration on social media right before the start of the playoffs, tried to eliminate all the distractions and make sure he was focused on the championship run. And of course, that is what they did. Coach Stig still signing some autographs, still a man of the people. A lot of people and friends and family and fans still out on the field at the S-Jack, getting ready and enjoying the festivities. Here you see the Yankee twins. Of course, they had a big part in that championship. Jaden with 5 catches, Jackson with a couple of touchdowns for South Dakota State in the victory over North Dakota State. And again, you see all the Jacks just reveling in the festivities, enjoying this one. They are national champions for the very first time in football, first team national championship at the Division I level. You heard Tyler Merriam allude to the 12th championship in Jackrabbit history. That, of course, goes back to the Division II days. They had an individual national championship with Seth Gross in wrestling a couple years ago. Women's basketball won a Division II national championship a little more than 20 years ago. And so a lot of success at SDSU, but unquestionably a national championship in football at the Division I level, the crowning accomplishment in the long and storied history of South Dakota State athletics. And it looks like Coach John Stiegelmeier has made his way over to Tom Neiman. And Tom is standing by with Coach Stig. Tom.
All right, John, congratulations. How about this? If you'd have just beat Iowa in that first game of the year, this would have been a really good season, huh?
A real good story. So we're walking up to the press conference with the 4 grandkids, and the oldest one goes, "Hey, you didn't beat the Hawkeyes, did you?" I said, "No, that's our one loss." He wanted to remind me.
But rolled through an unprecedented season, really. And you talked about it when you made your address at the podium, but you talked about the celebration that you let linger a little longer than you thought, right?
Well, I did, and I don't want to be a Scrooge, but I do want these guys to think this is just part of the journey, all right? And you hear it all the time, right? Olympic gold medal, World Series, it's not as big a deal when you get done with it, but at the moment it was pretty special.
All right. You say there's no perfect game ever, but especially these last 2 games, the semifinal game against Montana State and the championship win over North Dakota State, you were as close as you could get, weren't you?
No, there's no doubt. We talked about that today with one of the players about they want to know what their grade was, and we haven't graded the film yet. But unbelievable performance, and really proud of the guys for their focus and so on. And to play at that level in a football game is really hard, and so I'm really proud of the guys.
1-0 every week works, doesn't it? I mean, people kind of make fun of that at times, but that worked for you for 14 straight games this year.
It did, and then it's not only Saturday, but it's Monday, being 1-0 in class, weight room, and in the meetings. And so you take that approach to be focused and win the day. A lot of people say that, and it boils down to that Saturday when you're snapping the ball, and it did work today, or this year.
Absolutely. And just talking to Zach Hines and the players, and they talk about love was an ingredient this year for this team, and it was so cohesive, and you could see that on the way they played, and I'm sure you saw it outside of the field as well.
Yeah, this is what happened during fall camp. Guys were coming in just unsolicited and saying, this is the closest team I've ever been part of. at South Dakota State. And so I'm thinking, you know, this is important to me, so this is a big deal. And I think it did impact our season.
All right, how about you? This season ends with a national championship. You keep going, you keep building. What about your future?
I love what I do. I've got the best job in America, but I also have the best head coach in my wife in America. And we've talked for many years that this rules our lives. And when it's time to quit, if that's what we're alluding to, it's going to be her decision because I love what I do. Yes.
Hey, we appreciate everything all season. Congratulations. We appreciate everything you do for us.
Thanks, Tom.
John Stegelmar, national champion in season 26 as head coach of the Jackrabbits. And yeah, we were talking a little bit, you know, the rumors swirl, Brownie, of will Stig be done now after he wins the national championship? What's going to happen with the coaching staff? We will see there, but maybe not the time or place to make an announcement, but we'll see what Coach Stig ends up deciding. But he goes out as the national championship, at least for 2023, and just a great celebration. It was so fun the 5 days we were down in Texas. So thank you to Tyler Merriam and Justin Sell and everybody here at South Dakota State for all they've done for us at Midco Sports throughout the season. That does it from the SJAC and the championship celebration in Brookings. David?
All right, thank you again, Tom, and thanks to everyone on our production teams, both here in Sioux Falls and in Brookings. Thanks to everyone for their time and their interviews. Congrats once again to South Dakota State on the FCS National Championship. And thank you guys for watching the Jackrabbit Journal Championship celebration right here on Midco Sports.